Well, Razorback fans, it's game week for Bobby Petrino. Very first game week as the interim head coach. Will he come to paint or will he come to win? Let's talk about on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, as it was a bye week. We'll talk a little bit about what the SEC has done in the college football landscape over the past week or so. And we'll also get into, of course, a little bit of Primetime at the Palace and some of the fun stuff that came along from that. But I wanted to begin, of course, talking about it being game week officially. Today, we are going to have a chance to hear from Bobby Petrino and his very first official press conference, I guess, if you want to call last week with Hunter Yurachek a joint press conference. But this is going to be the first one with him being like the guy, the coach. And it's just going to be him up there. And he's going to be asked about practices and where everything's going on and how it's been going and all that great stuff. So a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest going on for all of that. And it's awesome. Like, it's not anything that's, I'm worried about or concerned about or anything. It's just still going to take some time to get used to. And I have been talking with a lot of you about the excitement that I have for seeing how this plays out. And I want to make sure that that's clear. It's an excitement to see how it plays out. I think I mentioned it before last week that having Bobby Petrino back is kind of like your favorite movie that came out 14 years ago and you found out that they're making a sequel. It's like, you're going to go see it. It may not be as good. It probably won't be as good. In fact, you're counting on it not being as good. But there's still an element of excitement and nostalgia surrounding it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But at the end of the day, you still got to play games. You have Tennessee on the road in this game, number 12 team in the country, Tennessee. They have one loss, and their loss came to Georgia in overtime, a game that they probably should have won. But the thing is, Mississippi State also gave them all that they wanted in overtime, and they ended up winning by a touchdown in that one. They beat Syracuse fairly handedly. They beat ETSU. They beat UAB. They're a good team. However, they gave up a lot of points. They gave up 26 to Syracuse. They only gave up 17 to ETSU, but they gave up 44 to Georgia, 24 to UAB, 34 to Mississippi State. So it's quite capable, and they're quite capable of being a team that could give up points, which luckily for Arkansas, if there is one thing you could say that they're good at, or at least have been good at this year, it's scoring points. If we get the spread, it opened up at 13 points, and it's already dropping in favor of the Razorbacks. I don't know how I like that. I don't know how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, you got yourself a really good challenge here. You got yourself a game that could inevitably turn everything on its head. Because let's be honest, if Arkansas loses this game to Tennessee, no one's going to be like, oh, wow, didn't see that coming. I mean, obviously, I don't want Arkansas to go out there and get wrecked. You don't want that. I'd like to see them be competitive, but I'm not expecting them to win. But it's a matter of how is this going to play out? Like, how is this thing going to be with Bobby Petrino? How is it going to look with him? With him being the guy. With him no longer having to worry about anybody else. He has done it his own way. He's let go of the entire defensive coaching staff. We all know about what he's done. But how is this going to be different? Will it be different? That's what's going to be the ultimate question. I think it will be. I think that there will be an element of more readiness. I think there will be an element of better coached game, especially for game week, and especially since you've had 2 weeks now to prepare. I know Tennessee has as well, but you had 2 weeks to kind of get your feet right and get everything going the way you want it to go. You haven't, at least at this point in time, had anyone enter into the transfer portal. But you have opportunities, and this game against Tennessee is kind of the ultimate one for Bobby Petrino. It would be one thing, folks, for him if he just took over by default. You know, if it was just, well, Pittman wasn't any good, fired him, and Petrino, you were just there, so we just decided to make you interim. It would be one thing for that. But this is something that Petrino wanted. He wanted this. I'm not saying he wanted Pittman fired. I'm saying he wanted this. He wanted it to be this way if he could, where he could end up being the head coach. He wanted it to where he was telling everybody, hey, if this thing goes badly and you have to make a move, I want the gig. I want to be the interim. And if I'm the interim, I'm going to make some arrangements. I'm going to make some plans. I'm going to do some things. I'm going to fire some people. And when I do that, we're going to do it my way. And we're going to try to salvage this. Maybe, just maybe, I am giving way too much credit to Bobby Petrino, and it's very possible because you all know how I feel about Bobby. But man, I would really like to think that there's something that he's got inside of that head of his that is making him look at the situation, making him look at what he's got going on with Arkansas right now, with the players he has, the way things were being done before and previously. I'm really hoping that he has a plan, that he has something in his back pocket, something to where he's like, the reason I wanted this, the reason I wanted to take over this, the reason I wanted to be the interim is because I know that if I had my way of doing this, I know we can be better than what we've shown. I know we can have a mentality that's better than what we've shown. I know we can win close games. I know we can do all these things, but I just have to do it my way. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to Bobby Petrino. It is very possible. But I'm trying to look on the side of optimism. While there's just still a little bit of a glimmer of it. It was hard to be optimistic given the circumstances with Pittman and with how everything went and just the lack of energy, the lack of excitement surrounding the program. But now it's got just a quick little boost. A boost of uncertainty and a boost of mystery. I really think that this team has a good chance of being better than what we've seen. I do. But that's based also on the team buying into everything Bobby Petrino's doing. It's based on everybody staying healthy. It's based on the team staying together. It's based on all of these things. But man, oh man, I know we're going to talk about it later in the week. But just imagine if Arkansas did something stupid like beating Tennessee. That throws everything into another level of chaotic. Just another level. But Bobby has his work cut out for him. I don't really know how many circumstances have been like this before. I don't know how many times he's been in a situation like this before. I don't know if he is just the man that can do this and take this team to that next level. I don't know, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to put that hope, that belief that if anybody can do it, he can. If anybody can make this season right, he can. Just imagine that. I can't wait to hear from him today. Maybe the most boring coach to listen to, but might be the most exciting person to hear from right now if you're a Razorback fan. But it's about proving yourself, right? That's what it is right now. For not just players, because I think that's obvious, ones that want to transfer out, you want to be able to have some good film to show. If you're some of those players that are trying to get to the NFL, you want to have some good lasting long memories, ways of showing off that, hey, this isn't just me being on a bad team, being a bad player. It's like, I'm good. It's like you want that. But it's a proving ground for the coach. And that's maybe where, again, my excitement comes in for Bobby Petrino. He's not doing this by default. He's not doing this because he's just having to. He's not doing this to just collect a check and then bounce at the end of the year. He's doing it because he wants it. He's motivated to be the coach, the head coach, moving forward. I'm not saying he deserves it. I'm not saying he will be. But I would really like to see what a motivated Bobby Petrino can do with this team, knowing what's at stake, knowing what's on the line, and knowing that he can be the next head coach, permanent head coach of Arkansas, if he turns this whole thing around. But there's a disappointing thing about where Arkansas is at right now, especially in the SEC, and I'll tell you more about that. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus. Powered by Peloton IQ, it's their most advanced equipment yet. Designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that will help you stay planned, stay motivated, and reach your peak performance. The swivel screen is a game changer, I know, for a lot of people who uses the Peloton. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations that keep you engaged, you get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy every week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the Peloton Cross Training Plus Tread today at onepeloton.com. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Arkansas had a bye week this past week, and is what it is. It's part of the schedule. And I remember I was thinking about, man, this is a real stinker, a little clunker of a week for SEC football, especially. There wasn't a whole lot of great games in store, but luckily, we got some entertaining games, to say the least. Some of them were more entertaining in the beginning part than what they ended up being. But man, I'm almost upset at the SEC. And I'm upset about the SEC, which makes me even more upset about Arkansas. Here's why. Texas sucks. They're just not good. Florida beat them. Florida, who had Billy Napier, who felt like he was going to get fired. Texas lost to Florida. Texas can't score. They can't do anything. Florida's not great either, but Texas is bad. Alabama and Vanderbilt went toe-to-toe, but Vanderbilt gave Alabama all they won. I know it was 30-14 was the final, but it was a lot closer than what that final score showed. Mississippi State and Texas A&M was a little close, but then Texas A&M pulled away. But the point is that I'm trying to make to all of you is that the SEC right now, where it stands, is so unbelievably wide open. It's frustrating because, this is the whole thing that we've heard, folks. This is the whole thing we've heard about Arkansas and competing in the conference, not being able to compete for a championship and everything. Do you realize, folks, actually, I'm just going to break it down to you. You want to know who the undefeated teams are right now in the SEC through, I guess, officially 5 weeks? Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Those are the undefeated teams this week. Heading into this week, undefeated on the season. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Alabama is also undefeated in the SEC. They lost that game, of course, to start the season, but they're 2-0 now in the SEC. That's extremely wide open. Georgia's lost a game already. We know to Alabama. LSU's lost a game. They lost to Ole Miss. Vanderbilt lost to Alabama. Tennessee's lost to Georgia. Those are the teams that are following up. Florida's 1-1. South Carolina's 1-2. And the rest of the teams are 0 and whatever. Arkansas's only 0-1, luckily. But the point is, I'm looking at this schedule, or I'm looking at the standings, and I know there's a lot of season left. It's like not ending. It's not over with. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, if Arkansas just would have done the things they were supposed to do against Ole Miss and against Memphis, even if they lost to Notre Dame, because I don't, who knows how that game would have gone if they didn't let go of the rope. I don't know if they would have won. But if they were sitting at 4-1 right now, 1-0 in conference play, they'd be a top 15 team. And it would feel really, really good to look at the rest of the landscape of the SEC. But knowing that you got to play A&M again, which is tough. Missouri, they're up there. You got to play LSU, who's decent. You got to play Tennessee. But Texas is not that good. Mississippi State's still beatable. Auburn's very beatable. They're not very good at all. Those are the teams you play. Just imagine that if you were a team like Arkansas, if you were Arkansas and you were good, you were a good team. You were a team that had showcased that you can win those close games, like all those things together. If you were that team, just imagine how you would feel right now. And honestly, truly, I don't know who's good in this conference. Like A&M, I give them a lot of credit. Listen, they're number 5 in the country. They're winning a lot of games. But what's their signature win? What's the win that they got? They got Notre Dame on the road. That was nice. But, they beat Auburn by 6. They beat Mississippi State. Okay. I still don't know if they're good. I'm not hating on them. I just don't know if they're good. Missouri, they beat UMass. Beat South Carolina by 9. I don't know if they're good. I don't look good. Oklahoma might be legit. We'll find out a little bit more. But they beat Michigan. Okay. Beat Auburn. That's not that great of a win. All right. LSU, are they really even that good? I thought they were one of the best teams in the country to start the year. But then I'm looking at them like, I don't know if y'all are any good or not. Because Clemson, you beat Clemson, but Clemson's not good. You beat Florida by 10. But then you got beat by Ole Miss. Are you good? I think Alabama's good. I do. So the point is, folks, that you could just never get the timing. The timing is everything in sports, but especially if you're a team like Arkansas, and especially in this day and age in the SEC, timing needs to be everything. You need to have those things in front of you. I remember thinking when Bobby Petrino was head coach here earlier, and you went 6-2 in those 2 years, back to back in 2010, 2011. You didn't play for an SEC title, but it was always like, man, just bad timing. You had to play Cam Newton in Auburn, like the best college football player of all time, and they beat you. And Alabama should have beaten. 2010, if it wasn't for Cam Newton, and of course you're just bad luck against Alabama, you would have been in a title game. You would have been in the SEC championship, and you probably would have won. The timing's everything. Same thing in 2011. That Bama and LSU team, both those teams are the best teams you'd ever see, especially defensively. It's what are you going to do? So it's about timing. And right now, Arkansas, they just don't have the timing. They don't have the timing that they need. And it's just unfortunate because, man, it would be so nice to just have that hope, just to have that feeling that you could do it. You could run the table. You could do something crazy. But instead, we have to wait. But who knows? Like we talked about in the previous segment, Bobby Petrino at the helm. Maybe something crazy happens. Maybe something new happens. Time will tell. I'm going to tell you about the Primetime at the Palace, though. That was awesome. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, this episode is brought to you by Square, your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's a sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. And when neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. The thing about it is that there's a lot of businesses, especially the food truck side of things, that thrive off of Square, and it's here in Fayetteville. A lot of those locations, one of them being Catfish Hole Catering. A lot of you have used that. A lot of you have had that. And that's one of the great businesses, local businesses here that uses Square. And Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million other neighborhood businesses across the world. So you can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. Before you do, go and support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. We're also presented by FanDuel. We know the NFL season is here, as well as the college football season, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Because right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the entire app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little bit something riding on the action. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today to get started. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So I, like many of you, got to go to Primetime at the Palace. It was the basketball event with John Calipari and the Razorback basketball team on Friday night. And first off, the amount of people that came up to me and said that they listened to this podcast was awesome. It was truly like humbling almost, and really meant a lot to me. So thank you all so much that did. And people that I got to meet and take pictures with and all that, that was awesome. So thank you so much for that. But the main thing, though, was just going there and seeing what it was. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to go, you missed out. It was a very casual thing. You had the big production of the players getting introduced. You had the women's team also getting introduced there with new head coach Kelsey Music. And then you had the men's team come out and the stars, and they had big highlights and music and fire going up and all of that. And then you had Cal get on the mic and just kind of address the entire fan base. And all that week leading up to it, he'd been going into the fraternities. He'd been going into the sororities. He'd been saying, hey, come and support us, come to the games and everything. Or come to Primetime at the Palace. They got the word out. They kept spreading it. They kept having it. I mean, we had a great event right before it as well. Like, it was just an awesome deal. And they had a dunk contest. They had 3-point competition. A little bit of scrimmaging. They ended up just being alley-oops getting thrown. That was it. It was nothing too strenuous. But the thing is I looked at it as in a different light, and I took it another step further. I looked at it as, oh my goodness, he gets it now. And he is doing what he can. And I'm talking about Cal. Last year, a lot of you probably heard me, you can call it complaining, but I was critical of, I felt like there was just some sort of disconnect with the athletic department in general, but even during basketball season, there was just a disconnect. You just felt like, it was just, you don't really know what to do. And it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't Cal's fault or anything like that. I'm not saying it was. But when I remember going on Feinbaum before the Kentucky game, and I was like, there's just been some sort of disconnect because you got so used to one coach like Muss. It's very interactive and everything. And then you got Cal who comes in here and you're like, yes, this is awesome. We're pumped, but what do we do with Cal? Like, what's the relationship here? And I think that the U of A failed in a way of just assuming, oh, well, everybody will come to the games because it's Cal. Everybody's going to get excited for it's Cal. It's like, no, it's going to take, you got to do your part too. And so I think, this is my reckless assumption. I think Cal is like, well, we're not doing that again. Y'all screwed it up, U of A, so we're going to do it my way. And his way was basically like coming out and getting involved, getting interacted, telling people about coming to the game, telling people to be a part of it, getting the student section, talking about Bud Walton Arena, talking about all of those things. Like, that's what he was wanting to do, and that's the message he came across, and I think that they really came across well. Now, some of you may be saying, well, that's lame. You shouldn't have to have a coach out there begging people to go to games. Wow, Arkansas, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not how I'm looking at it, and that's not what I'm explaining. I'm explaining that in order, like the U of A can't do their part because they don't know how, apparently. So Cal just took it into his own hands of trying to make it more connected and make the fans feel more connected. And one of the coolest things, if not the best thing about it, was after the game, after the event. Some of the players stood around and Cal, and they were on the court. Folks, they had so many people on the court, kids on the court and everything, just getting autographs, taking pictures with the players and Cal. And I'm like, building that, man, that is exactly what you need to do. That's exactly what you need to do. And that's so great. And I'm already excited about basketball season, but that was such a cool thing. Shout out to Cal. Shout out to the basketball team. I love that. And I wish there was a lot more of that in all the sports, but that was really cool. And especially because, Cal's larger than life. He's a celebrity that happens to be a basketball coach. And he was just great. And I think that his involvement, it's showing the connection, the caring. And I really think that that's going to go a long way. So great event. Can't wait to see the rest of events that happen, especially leading up to it. It's going to be a great basketball season. I know we're in football mode, but basketball will be here before we know it. And we know that's really exciting. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.